Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just a second, I'll close the window.
Hello.
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 Hi all.
Just
Oh, you got a nice background there. Yeah, whatever.
yeah, I'm just too lazy to remove the green screen.
I use the web client, so I can't really have it blurred. So I'm very limited in background settings, unfortunately.
Yeah, I spent half of the weekend configuring my work setup. Well, it still could be better, but at least it works. And yeah.
So now you're not on McDonald's, at least.
Sorry?
You're not on McDonald's right now, at least.
No, it's my home.
You were there the other week.
Yeah, I wish it was McDonald's. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Or some other place outside. Yeah, should we expect someone else to join, or should we get started? I guess we could start. Let me share my screen, maybe. So, Andrea, I know you will not stay for long. You're of course free to go when you need to. Let's see if I can share my screen. Yeah, I believe you see it now.
Yep.
So great, welcome. Second to last meeting this year, I believe. Add yourselves. I'll add myself later on. So we have some action items. Maybe we should start with those. Then, Andrea, you're still waiting for response, I guess, on the domain ID, or is there anything new there?
Nothing new, but I'll ask again.
Fine. Steve?
Yeah, I'm starting to dive into the SPDX for several things. So I will be getting immersed in that, and I'll be able to share what I find here shortly.
Sounds good. No rush, I guess, so far. And the proposal is done now, and it's already also merged, as I think you've seen on Slack and other channels. So we're now a formal project for SIG Events.
Yeah, the one comment that we had was we should start thinking about a roadmap. And what we want to accomplish next year is kind of the way I view it.
Yeah, and what we will need to answer soon is what we want to accomplish by KubeCon and then by CDCon. So it's basically May and June, because this will be two newsworthy events if you have something done by then.
Let's see. I believe I used the wrong speakers, just a second. So you hear my keyboard tapping a lot. Now I think it's better, is it? It's better
Yes.
when I don't.
It's perfect when you don't type.
I understand. So, you still hear me, I guess. Otherwise, you can tell me. So, the roadmap, should we initiate some action on that then? We haven't really, maybe we have some kind of embryo on our README for the SIG events, but not really.
I
What
think we
should-
have all the ideas. I think we just need to pull them together in one place. We should probably just start a roadmap markdown and start adding our ideas to it. And I don't know if we want to do that as a HackMD or if we should do that as a markdown in the repo and just start a discussion around it. I don't know what's going to be easier.
Is it only me or is there some problem with HackMD? Seems I'm going offline all the time.
Not sure. I definitely experience limited bandwidth right now, so maybe it's something global.
Maybe it's something on the HackMD server, or is it low bandwidth in other places as well?
Yeah, I'm not trying to type in, update it, so I can't tell.
One second at least.
For me, it's still opening.
So, yeah. so I believe we should actually have a HackMD document first to get started quickly, or maybe a Google Docs, but whatever.
Yeah, either
Okay.
one.
Fine. Yeah.
But I think that should be our starting point.
Yeah, I do agree. Maybe HackMD or Google. It's easier to to contribute
Maybe you
ideas
can
in the beginning.
It's actually easy to comment in Google Docs, maybe. That's easier.
You can comment on HackMD also.
Yeah.
I thought about if you use HackMD, if the final format is going to be a markdown, then HackMD would be easier because then you can translate easier.
Should it be markdown in the end?
Yeah, I think in the repo, we should have a roadmap that markdown would be one of the products that we produce. So let's go with HackMD.
Is anyone willing to start up the roadmap then?
I can do it.
Like I said, I think we have a pretty good idea of what we want to do. It's just scattered about.
Great. Thanks,
Yes,
Andrea.
I'll just create the markdown. And then
Make an empty document and have a title.
Yeah.
it's, but I have to plan for it because I don't know.
That's good. So, moving on, Tracy.
Yep.
Yep. It's so strange now, jumping back and forth. So, or it's actually it's Oleg who has the latest update on this AP. This action.
Yes. Okay, so for online meetup, yes, I confirm that we can host it on Zoom. And currently, I'm setting up a prototype for Bevy, which is basically community Linux Foundation.org. I started for proof of concept for Captain, but once we verify it, I will be able to create a CDF one in just a few minutes. Am I audible?
Yes.
So yeah. Wait, yeah, you. So, but it's not yet in the calendar yet, I guess then.
Yes, it's not in calendar because so I tried reaching out to Garima. I didn't get a response. I'm not sure whether she joins TUC meetings anymore. I haven't seen her for quite a while. But yeah, in the worst case, we just self-host. So
you mean we self-host another separate foundation meeting, or
Yeah, so for me, how it works, as a SIG events, we agree when this event happens. And yeah, basically we host it and brand it as the CDF meetup. But it's me or Garima hosting it, or maybe somebody else with permissions. But ultimately what we need speakers. Once we have speakers, I think we will be able to handle hosts.
So Oleg, I guess what you're saying is we just need to figure out who wants to do this presentation. I mean, certainly Deploy Hub, we can host, I can schedule the a webinar. We've got webinar software to do that with.
Yep. So you can schedule, I have access, Garima has access, Tracy, Kara have access to. So we definitely have someone who will be able to host it. But yeah, what we're missing is actually presenters right now. So we have a lot of candidates, but we need to agree on the date and who will be presenting.
Yeah, so I think what we need to do to present this, as I know Andrea has been working on a POC, we really need to show the POC.
Yeah, I guess that was done right in the KubeCon meeting, Andrea, already, you know,
Yeah.
in KubeCon presentation, and the more or less the same could be maybe for the FOSDEM, so maybe you can reuse it even for this one as well. But are we looking for a 2-hour event, or how long is this event we're looking for?
You don't want to go more than an hour.
An hour, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And half hour seems to be
A half hour presentation and 15 minutes of questions is, you know, you want to try to get it done, wrapped up within 45 minutes.
that way people can kind of view it during lunchtime and things like that. And we'll have to figure out from the CD Foundation how they plan to redistribute the presentation, you know, because we'll probably get maybe 10 to 20 people live on it, but then we'll pick up another 500 post presentation. So we just got to figure out from the CD Foundation if they're doing any social media around it, and if they're doing anything like on the YouTube channel, or you know, how they are able to get out you know, what we do out to everybody.
Some things are a no-brainer, so definitely we'll get help with social media posts. Same for CDF YouTube. It might be worth discussing things like a newsletter. So we did special newsletters, let's say on Tecton, on Jenkins graduation. So if you want to do a special newsletter on CD events, then it's something we need to discuss with Roxanne, Jacqueline, and others, because it requires significant amount of content. It cannot be just one blog post. We need a bit more. Also, if we get the CDF involved, most likely founding members of CDF Events SIG should rather provide some statements for posting. And yeah, I think it would be great.
So in terms of the content, though, if we go back to speakers, do you think Andrea would do his, could repeat the presentation he did at KubeCon?
Yeah, for the POC, I'm happy to redo it anytime. That's,
Oh, I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, we thought you were dropping off.
No.
Yeah, so if you have that, if we could just redo that, because not everybody saw it, right?
Sure. I mean, the POC is there. It's working, so we can show it again anytime. And of course, as soon as we have more content, more newer version of that, we can, you know, iterate.
And when, in terms of the time frame, when do we think that we're going to get proper approval for the project?
That's done.
Oh, it is? So we're,
it's official effective December 1st.
oh, well, that's exciting. We should have a press release go out.
we agreed that it would go out in January.
January,
or
okay,
February.
yeah, okay.
Because-
So if we push it out, and if we should do it all, roll it out at the same time.
Mhm.
We should roll
Yeah.
out the announcement and have a date and a structure for the webinar.
Mhm.
So
I would say shoot for mid-January.
well, I'm wondering if we should, do you think we would want to try to do this through the CD online meetup, or do you want to try to do it just on its own?
Well, that's what
thoughts?
Oleg was saying. We're gonna try to do it through the CDF first. If we don't hear back from anybody, like Garima's gone quiet,
Yeah,
Well,
that
we are
we'll
doing
do it on our own.
through CDF because I have access. So in the worst case, I will just get it hosted.
yeah,
Also the-
exactly. And not worry about doing it through the meetup.
yeah, so meetup,
But I guess
we do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Are the
Fine, but-
meetups planned monthly or something? Sorry.
I used to do a
Or-
monthly, but there's nobody who's picked it up yet.
I mean, so you just don't collide with other planned meetups at the same time or something like that, or very close in
Well,
time.
there are not so many meetups scheduled, so it doesn't seem like a big problem right now.
No.
Should we start planning for it and then set a date already now, or?
Well, that's what it
Yeah.
takes it, here we are, we're at I mean, December is marching forward here.
Mhm.
I feel like we should get a date scheduled and make it just, find out if they can host it for that date. And if they can't, as Oleg said, we'll just host it independent.
Well, it will be still CDF meetup. It's just
Right, just who
hosted by
starts
us.
it. Yeah,
Because how many CDF ambassadors do we have on this call? 6 of 6?
right.
Or something like that.
I'm not an ambassador, but
I'm
yeah,
not
there's plenty of
either.
ambassadors here that could take it on.
So I say we look for the third week of January.
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
For some reason, I can't update the minutes of meetings anymore, this HackMD document. I guess you
Mm,
still, oh, no, I wrote somewhere else. Well,
HackMD's taken over your mouse.
yeah, the virus.
So how about the 19th of January?
I think we need to create a doodle. Because we need Andrea, who dropped, I believe, by now.
Yep.
Also Steven, of course, somebody to host, and preferably the rest of the events SIG.
Maybe
So
we can
what?
ask, Kara's not here. Maybe we can ask her to do a doodle. I can send her an email right now.
Well, I can just create it.
Okay,
Hosting-
yeah, I don't have
So
it.
if we agree third week of January,
Third week of
yeah,
January, yeah. And
mm, s-
generally, it's better to do it before noon Eastern or Western Pacific time.
yep. So everyone from the SIG is either in Europe or in Americas, right?
Yes, yeah.
So it
And
will be
India
something
as well.
Yeah, so it will be something between, let's say, 3 p.m. UTC to 6 p.m. UTC. So it's not a big range anyway.
I think that sounds right. Yes.
Mhm.
As long as it's not too early for the Pacific Coast.
I will create a doodle.
So is someone able to use HackMD in a good way now? Then you could maybe take over the sharing, because I can't write anything.
Yeah, so
Otherwise, I'll
I'm
do
able to
another-
type, but
Yeah.
do you want me to screen share?
Yeah, please do it then, if you can write at the same time.
Just a second. Hello. I cannot screen share while somebody else shares the screen.
I'll stop backwards.
Everyone, by the way, sorry for joining a bit late. as I just mentioned there on the chat, my name's Jamie Plower from Fidelity Investments. I was just working with Cara about getting more involved in the SIG, so I hope you don't mind me joining the call.
You're welcome.
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 Huge welcome.
Of course.
So is everyone fun with Markdown, or do you want to have preview?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. So yeah, I like to create a poll. Okay.
So we said Andrea could also provide his presentation, right? Maybe we should write that down.
Script on one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Great.
So yeah,
That next
also-
one, yeah, the Google group has been created. Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's fine. I was just catching up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one's done. And
Haven't heard anything on Twitter, like, but
yeah, I know we have the Twitter account, so I would
Yeah.
imagine that the tweet deck should be done.
It needs some additional steps, but yeah, it's just a couple of minutes. It's a CD_events, right?
Underscore CD events.
underscore city events. Yeah.
Oh.
Underscore first. Yeah.
You've got a follower.
Yay.
It's gonna jump from that to like 1 million in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the
So-
artwork there, I consolidated the comments we had and pasted them a week ago or something. So far, I think if you open the link, I don't think we have got any comments or any feedback from the.
Yeah, I think so. I guess at some point we just need to make a call what we take.
Yeah, but I think Tracy wrote there just now, a few days ago, that she will.
Yeah.
look into it.
Yeah, so when I was doing my presentations, I did a few presentations internally. I did a presentation on the Continuous Delivery Foundation recently. I was actually using this logo. But yeah, with disclaimer that it's not official at the moment.
We probably
Yeah,
changed slightly at least.
Yeah, the last thing we're waiting on was the stacked version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So just need to wait for it then.
Yes.
Okay.
And then about the code of conduct, Steve.
That's still on my to-do list. I will get it taken care of. It's not a big deal.
And yeah, regarding governance MD.
Yeah, we have a pull request we can look into.
Mhm.
This is a copy of the Tecton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe one comment. Does it really have to be in spec, or maybe it should be in .github?
Yeah, I just learned about that last week, where if you create the .git repo, the .git repo is shared across any repository in the organization. So it's an easy way to create a single place and so you don't have to like repeat the code of conduct, everything, the license across all the repos. If you create a .git repo, it was
GitHub.
interesting, like side effect of GitHub.
Yeah, so I'm just showing
Yeah.
example which I enabled for Captain recently. So basically you can inject all the metadata and all the repositories will pick it up. So for example, code of conduct, security metadata, also license in this case, contributing guidelines. Then you can add a profile. So basically it's just a small landing here you can use. So pretty much like personal profiles. And another useful thing is issue templates, because you can basically create the same issue template for all the repositories. So for example, here it's just if you open any repository, it will be like that. So there are templates for bug reports, for feature requests, for documentation. Also, there is a report a security vulnerability, which comes from security metadata. So it opens the security policy, which is just redirect in this case. And last but not least, we added a metadata which points to Captain Slack for discussions. So we could enable something like that in the repositories.
Yeah, I think we should definitely do that. Do the .github repo with all the shared document instead of doing it in, like you said, spec. And
but the question is, does government fit into the .github repo?
yeah, what happens is it just enables you, if you end up in the spec repo, you want to look at how the governance is, it's all points to the shared location.
Yeah.
So should we have the same governance for all projects, all repositories in the organization then? Is that what we're saying? Or is it for the spec we should have a governance model?
No, you'd have a governance for the whole, a single governance for the whole, for all the repos. You don't want to have different governance guidelines between different repos. That'll get too confusing.
Yeah, we have such a case in Jenkins. So in Jenkins, we have sub projects, which technically have separate governance. But yeah, I wouldn't say that even in Jenkins, we use it actively. So just a simple global repo would make total sense for me.
So if you could comment on Andrea's pull request. And just that we should, so there's a couple things in this pull request. One, it still says Tecton. And then we should have it be placed in a .github repo so it's shared.
So I think that the reason that we placed it there was that cloud events have their governance in the spec repo.
Well, it'll still show up in the spec repo. That's the nice thing about having the .github repo is it ends up being a shared. So if you go, if we go and create another repository, we don't have to go and copy the any documents into that repository. They're all point to the shared area. That's the nice thing about.
Yeah, it's not the case with governance MD because currently it's not the official metadata by GitHub. So, well, you can just create governance MD and point it to .github, or you can put the link in README. But yeah. Is my keyboard silent enough?
Well, and then while you're there, line one.
Likely with the sounds.
Line one, it says Tecton instead of SIG Events. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll change the keyboard because currently I have two.
Right.
And this one is apparently very loud. This one is much better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
you're in stealth mode with that keyboard.
Okay. Okay. So I guess this is it with this command. So what else do we have?
Yeah. Yeah, so then those are the action points then. And then just an administrative discussion. What about meetings over Christmas and New Year's? The next meeting is December 20th. I guess we will have that one as planned. No other thoughts from anyone? But then the question is on January 3rd, do people work then, or should we cancel or move that meeting? Or I have planned to be on vacation at least then, but I'm not sure how the rest of you do.
Should be
And for sure,
available.
28th of December, I will also be off.
Yeah, we're for the Ortelius project, we're canceling everything for the last 2 weeks of the year. So
Also on December 20th then, or?
yeah, so I would definitely the 28th, obviously, and maybe the 3rd, cancel those two. The 20th would be up in the air.
So it looks like Andrea will be off also on January 3rd and December 28th. So
Yeah,
I would vote for canceling those two, but keeping the December 20th.
that's my thought too.
So I guess we propose that then. So next meeting is December 20th, and then we have 2 weeks off.
Sounds good.
So moving on then. CDF
Yes.
TRC updates.
Yeah, maybe you can share those to log them.
Yeah, so basically big update, which we already discussed, is that effective December 1st, the decision on CD events is made. So CD events is incubating project within the Continuous Delivery Foundation. There is still a lot of logistics that needs to be done in terms of website updates, whatever. But formally, it's part of the Continuous Delivery Foundation now. So congrats, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
perfect.
you. And we'll start working on the onboarding process. So things like the Zoom meetings and stuff like that, if they need to. I think this is a CD Foundation Zoom account, right? That we're using.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so
It
that
is.
doesn't need to move. I think there's a. Oh, like, wasn't there something with the repository where we have to add like the Linux Foundation as an owner?
Yes, it was discussed. So
Oh.
I would say it's still not a mandatory requirement because it's not clear what exactly is expected. Ask Tracy to share documents with the expectations, but I still don't have guidelines. Generally, it's just adding another GitHub account as owner of the GitHub organization. But there is no documentation explaining who is behind this GitHub account. So basically, if you have any private information, then yeah, it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, I would say since we don't have a lot of any private
We shouldn't have
information
it private, I guess.
that we
What
could
should that be?
probably adopt that. I'll look at the list of onboarding.
So some actions actually need steps from the CDF. For example, I still have no idea how cd.foundation website is managed. But for example, we still don't have shipwright listed on this website. So yeah, it's something that needs action from Cara or Tracy or Jacqueline, I believe. And for the rest, yeah, we can do the most of the things on the CDF Events SIG side.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Good. Moving on. So from TOC perspective, everything is set up then for the CD events project.
Yeah, we just have to go through like the onboarding. Yeah. So
but is there a checklist for that, or
what was that?
Is there a checklist for the onboarding, or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that's kind of a work in progress on the CDF side as well. So we're going to.
So had you started that work, Steve? Or?
I think we have most of it covered, so it's not going to be a big deal to wrap up the few loose ends.
I was more thinking who would do the wrap up.
Oh, I can do that. You can add that as an action item for me.
Good. And of course, reach out if you need some input or help.
Yeah.
Who is taking care of the roadmap file or whatever?
That was Andrea created the roadmap.
Right. Yeah.
He did his part. He created his empty file, so he's done.
Yeah.
Well, MD file is fine. Personally, I prefer GitHub issues or whatever because it's a kind of at least moving in this case, because Markdown files tend to become obsolete. But yeah, it's just a style preference.
It will end up in a GitHub pull request, of course, sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
good.
The next one is SIG interoperability.
Yeah, we normally just take input from whatever happened on the last SIG meeting there. I'm not sure there was a meeting about this or a presentation about this. What's it called now?
SIG store.
SIG store, right? Which could potentially be valuable as input. It's a lot about encrypting data and decrypting it on the other side. And managing the artifacts that you build and so on. Not anything directly we should maybe look into. Matthias, yeah?
I mean, it could be that we could look into, because SIG store handles a lot of signatures. So for example, if you want to sign packages and so on, you need to have keys or certificates, and that is what it's trying to handle, like hassle-free certificate chains and so on, open source. So basically, it could be interesting to see if we want to sign our events, that we might want to use SIG store for that. That's the only thing I got from that presentation.
Yeah. And I think in due time we should look into that, but maybe no rush right now. We should focus on setting up the project and focusing on the presentations we have for the project setup first, I guess. And also, of course, make sure we continue with the vocabulary discussions and continue the draft there. But we'll keep it as input for the future. Best practices, I haven't heard anything from any recent meeting there, unless anyone else has to go on. We had vocabulary meeting last week. We actually discussed a bit of the setup of the project there as well, just as everywhere else. So I guess we'll come to whatever we were discussing there in the coming sections of the agenda. So the protocol is there if you want to go later on to it, maybe. So I think we can move on to the product setup, which we have already started to discuss quite a lot. Yeah. So just for information, if you were not on the vocabulary meeting, the first two there, code of conduct and markdown linter, are merged currently to the spec repo. If you have any doubts or ideas, you can of course provide issues or pull requests on those. And then Andrea also created or imported a draft spec as a pull request. We said on the vocabulary meeting we should have some, we should mark it clearly in there that it's actually not ready for implementation yet, but it's a draft or something. I'm not sure if Andrea updated the README after the meeting, but that's what we said last about that one. And he also created a primer and binding pull request where it's supposed to describe how we bind our protocol to the cloud events spec. So that's it's more information maybe on this SIG meeting, but someone would be good if someone looked into that as well, of course, to describe it. But let's maybe move on to the Bootstrap governance, which is more interesting maybe for us here. So I'm not sure if we have speed enough in this work now, and if we have the focus we should have in this group. I mean, now on these SIG meetings, anyone just joins who has the time to join and is able to join. I'm not sure if we would need a more dedicated group of people to actually set up the needed governance and Bootstrap stuff, preparing for elections and so on for a real committee. What do you think?
I think we should hold off on, just go with the Bootstrap until next year. And then when we get a fresh start after the New Year's, that we could start focusing on our more formal governance. I think we'll get more people engaged at that point, especially after we have the you know, the press release and the meetup and things like that. We may get a few more people to join in.
So we just continue as we do now and try to deal with the items on our regular meetings then.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Of course. There is a link there that was shared also on the vocabulary meeting on the OpenTelemetry charter for handling the governance, just for reference. Andrea pasted the Tecton one in the pull request, but there's another one there we got on the vocabulary meeting as reference as well, if we want to compare them. Yeah, and the next question there, I guess that's for later then as well. What will happen with the SIG events group? Because I mean, we will continue at least for now, as you said, Steve. So let's take that discussion later on.
Sounds good.
Other things, update our README. It's an old thing we should do. I guess we can also wait with that one until we really have some more details in the SIG events organization and in the repos under there. So we can refer to the fresh stuff.
Yeah, when I go through the onboarding checklist, we'll probably have to update the README with some additional information. So I think
but that's the README of the news in the new spec repo, right? Not the README of our current SIG events.
Oh,
repo.
right. Yeah, true.
So of course we need to strip out the information from there maybe and reference instead to the SIG events organization.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also a bit dependent on what will happen with the SIG events group when we have the SIG events committee in place and so on. So it's not a rush there either. But is there anything else we should move then from the SIG events projects in GitHub to the new organization? We are moving the spec. I'm not sure what else we need to move. I mean, we have discussions, of course, which are still in the SIG Foundation organization, the SIG events repo. Yeah, we can keep them until further notice, I guess. But we should, of course, eventually merge them as well, or move them as well to the SIG events organization. Maybe that's something we should rush now either. About the landscape, maybe that could be a bit interesting to look into where we should place SIG events and what things should be called in the landscape. So Kara has made a proposal on a observability and analysis category in the landscape. That's a 2 or 3 pull request. The next one.
Next one.
It was the next one actually. That one is about
2 or 3.
adding the CD events as its own. It's referenced from there as well, but anyway. So if you first go to the category pull request where Kara's proposed to do this, I think she pasted a picture of it in the discussion part. If you go back to the
It's
conversation.
better than
Yeah, it's a bit easier to read. So there you have it. So was it even further down? I think
it should be down.
so there you have some there it is. Yeah, that's that one. Yeah. So the category is proposed to be observability analysis, and the subcategory tracing and messaging. And there we have Eiffel, and we have open telemetry, and what is the third one there? Can't really read it now, but and the proposal is of course, yeah, Honeycomb, to add CD events there as well. Then does that sound reasonable to all of you, or what do you think? It's of course hard to categorize things, but
I think that's a good starting point. I mean, you can always, if we have a new category that pops up that makes more sense, we can always move it. But I think that's a good landing spot for us now.
Makes sense.
Should we make a statement in the pull request or in Kara's pull request that we think this is a good idea, so it can be progressed?
Yeah, we should sign on, let Kara know that we're good with that.
Okay, I can do it like that. Any objections, Matthias, Jamie?
No, it's good.
Okay, something like that.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Perfect. Then if we take the other pull request, the one that I wrote there about the actual adding of the CD events to the landscape.
196. Yeah, 192.
Yes, that one,
this one.
Yeah. So there are some things missing there. Of course, the logo is missing, and we need that. But one thing that I had a question about is the Crunchbase entry. Should we have a Crunchbase entry for the CD events organization, or should we refer to it as CD Foundation, or what would you think would be the Crunchbase here?
I don't think that even Jenkins has any Crunchbase reference here. Crunchbase is usually for companies, not for projects.
And I can't remember if Crunchbase is required.
I think it was, or is it? Maybe it isn't anymore.
So for
so you're just so what happens in the landscape is a Crunchbase entry is required, but for projects that don't have it, we just roll it up to the CD Foundation as the reference.
Right. Sounds reasonable. So that's what we'll do with that one. Yep, sounds good.
So that's the easy way out.
So what else do we miss then? Maybe that's the only thing actually, except for the logo, of course. And I guess we really need the logo, otherwise we can't have anything in there. I don't think we should have a preliminary logo. Or
why not?
The risk is always if you publish it that people will assume it's a final one, even though you.
The point is
on
to
that
publish
page,
the one you like, right?
No, but we haven't really. There's not one that we. I mean, there are several ideas on improving all of them together or combining them. So
I say we hold off on the logo for see what happens next week or so with the artwork.
Yeah, but I can add the Crunchbase part at least to this commit.
I guess also we'd like to use the stacked version here, or am I wrong?
Correct.
Correct.
So the version we have right now is broad or is wide. I mean. So we should probably wait for that one.
Okay.
Yep.
So anything else on the landscape?
I don't think so.
So then new updates on SIG Events artwork. I believe we discussed it. Gmail
Yes.
account for SIG Events.
Yeah, we wrote that I think 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure if we need a specific Gmail account. I think we talked about if we need it for YouTube or something like that, but probably not. Or if we should have it for our own calendar or something. But I guess we can go with the CD Foundation until further notice at least.
So for calendar, you can create a calendar without having an account. So basically anyone can create a shared calendar at a few owners, and you have a shared calendar. We do this for Jenkins. Same for YouTube, you can just create a shared channel. So when you possibly need an account, for example, if you need a Google Drive, if you need email for contacts, etc., then it makes sense to create a Google account, but maybe in this case, it rather makes sense to consider having a Google Workspace. Yeah,
I believe you're a bit limited in the YouTube account if you haven't really a proper Gmail account admin right for it. I mean, you can be, I believe, admin on a YouTube channel, but there are some limitations to what you can do, even though you're an admin, if you don't really have the account itself, I believe.
Not aware about any limitations, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. And what we've done for Ortelius is we've created a Gmail account that basically only the people that are doing administration need to know. And it's not like a public email address. It's just for configuration of some of these platforms.
Yeah. Let's drop that for now, at least. We assume it's not needed now.
So we have a Gmail account for Captain. In this case, we use it mostly for scheduling, because we have Calendly connected to this account, so that anyone as a user can schedule a session to discuss something about Captain. And another use case is Google Drive. Whether it's reasonable enough, I'm not sure.
No, but we don't need it for now, at least. Good, thanks for the
input. And yeah, here's probably one of use cases when you could use a Google account. But yeah, Google Group does the job as well.
So I'm not sure we need that now either. But a Google Group, could a Google Group be owner of a Twitter account then, or?
Yes.
No, it's just for, it can, okay.
But yeah, it's basically any email, but I think and that would be like a case for the Gmail email address instead of the Google Group, because then anybody in the group could have access to the Twitter account and things like that. And usually, like with Twitter, you have to go through like a single sign-on, and I don't think the Google Group will get you everything that you need when you do that single sign-on process.
Right. Okay. I believe we could drop that for now as well then. So let's move on to the meetups. The FOSDEM, as I can see, it's still not called for participation in the CI/CD dev room.
It's a bit tricky because there was a call created on Pentabar. The problem that, if I understand the situation correctly, they still haven't officially announced dev rooms on FOSDEM website. And hence they cannot publish official call for papers. But if you look on Pentabar, it's actually up.
Yeah, the dev rooms are there, and there is the news from 30th of November, accept the developer rooms. And there you have all the developer rooms. And some of them have, there to the right there. Some of them have call for participation, but not the CI/CD one.
Maybe maintainers of this room missed it as well. I will follow up.
But it's quite a tight schedule for proposing.
Everything is on tight schedule this year.
Yeah.
Okay, I will ping organizers.
Great. So last week on the vocabulary meeting, and Eric and Andrea volunteered to have a talk, and I guess they will more or less repeat also the KubeCon talk that Andrea had, for a bit altered, of course, but more or less the same content.
So yeah, I guess it's quite with events right now. Yeah, maybe I will be doing a quick talk on continuous delivery foundation at the DevOps days Geneva. So it's February 6th to 7th. And if I do it, of course, CD events will be mentioned, but I don't anticipate a kind of heavy discussion about the project today, unless somebody else plans to join the conference and it actually happens, which is also not clear right now.
Which date did you say? Was it the same as FOSDEM then?
Yeah, well, it's not FOSDEM, it's just a week after FOSDEM, just a few days after. So FOSDEM is 5 to 6, I believe, or 4 to 5, and then the next day is DevOps Days Geneva starts.
Do you think we should be there as well, or?
I don't think it will be something major.
Yep.
And let's be honest, it's highly likely that the event will be cancelled altogether with the current trends.
Yep.
So if it happens, I will go there as CDF ambassador or whatever. So Dynatrace is a gold sponsor. So yeah, for me, it's reasonable to go regardless. So I will see how I could promote the foundation matters there.
Yep. Good. So regarding the rest of the agenda, I don't really have anything more to mention unless anyone else has. I was just a bit interesting, Jamie, to get your reflections on this, your first meeting here.
Yeah,
do you have any input or any
apologies for just observing. Yeah, no, I've been working with Cara on the background for some time. In Fidelity, we're very much interested in standardizing our eventing predominantly around cloud events. I'm work for one of the central DevOps teams within Fidelity. I'm working on a sort of pipeline intelligence initiative where we're going to be leveraging the cloud events standard very heavily. So it's just wanted to get more involved, see where I can help influence, and very much work focused on Jenkins core. And I noticed there's some plugin projects there, so looking maybe to contribute back into that. And again, following the vocabulary language to date. So it's just really to, first of all, introduce myself. Definitely want to we're very much focused on open source and Fidelity as well. So definitely want to get more involved from the community aspect. So I can provide more detail maybe in a later session or something like that around the projects that we're doing. But that's pretty much my to date. But it seems like it's a timely time with the project getting full swing. So I hope I can be of more benefit than today than I have been, but it's just really to introduce myself and very excited with the work you guys are doing.
Great. You're of course
Thanks a lot
welcome
for
to join anytime, and also in the discussions. We have quite some discussions in the vocabulary topics. They are in the SIG Foundation organization in GitHub under the SIG Events repo still. So if you go with it, you can see lots of discussions, and please involve yourself if there's any topic you're specifically interested in there.
Will do, Emil. Thank you. Yeah.
I just added. You could present something when we see if it's for it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more than happy to just provide more context to what we're doing and standardizing our whole DevOps tool chain and some of the work that's be involved around gathering the signal intelligence and beyond. Yeah.
Great.
Sounds good. Okay, so we're out of time. Any more final words from anyone?
No.
No. Okay. So let's keep in touch next time.
Thank you all.
Thanks
See you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.